as some of you probably already do know, but we haven't been, here because obviously we were waiting to be greenlighted, which we now have. So the Clubit Show is every week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Thanks to you guys for watching our first one and supporting us. So unfortunately we went through about 8 weeks of not being able to talk about stuff, but last week John Kodera, I hope I said his name right, the president and global CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, released a statement on PlayStation.com saying, here we go, get my official voice on. Following the comprehensive evaluation process, Sony Interactive Entertainment has identified a path toward supporting cross-platform features for select third-party content. We recognise that PlayStation 4 players have been eagerly waiting an update, and we appreciate the community's continued patience as we have navigated through this issue to find a solution. The first step will be an open beta beginning today for Fortnite that will allow for cross-platform gameplay, progression, and commerce across PlayStation 4, Android, iOS, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, and Mac operating systems. We see the beta as an opportunity to conduct thorough testing that ensures cross-platform play is best on PlayStation, while being mindful about users' experience from both a technical and social perspective.
So basically,
well done.
All the waffle aside from that nonsense statement, cross-platform is finally coming to PS4, who were the ones who were being the pain in the arse with this.
Basically, they were the ones who were throwing up the wall saying, no, the best place to play is on PlayStation. We do not need cross-play.
Yeah, because weren't they, when Fortnite started, wasn't cross-play originally enabled by a mistake from Epic Games?
I believe it was.
For a brief period of time it was on.
I don't know if that was the case.
It was like
something like that.
Yeah, something like that happened.
Story.
And I do know, like, was it the guys who do Rocket League did actually say that, like, unofficially, that they could literally, it's not at a technical standpoint, it's not that hard for them to actually initiate crossplay. It's literally a flip of a switch. So that's unofficial, by the way, so that may not be entirely correct. But I do remember reading that somewhere. So in a technical perspective, it's not that hard to actually do this, but Sony would basically be in the pain in the ass and saying, no, play on PlayStation. We don't need to go anywhere.
I think it's purely because they didn't need the extra players on their console. That was the argument they were making, with it being such a big seller.
Mm-hmm. Well, and can you blame
saying that? No, in a way, yeah, but they were saying, well, it's not us that need the extra players, it's all the other consoles, so we're not going to allow that.
So with Fortnite obviously being so massive, and this is obviously the first one they're going to be doing the beta, which is happening now, if I'm correct, because it was last week then they launched this.
Yes.
What if there's any other games do you think are going to actually step into this category?
Well,
realistically. Sorry, go ahead.
On that kind of topic, I was going to say, where does this leave the console market? And where does this leave the console wars? Because the whole point of Xbox versus PlayStation was, realistically, you bought one console. More often than not, you buy it for the exclusives, for which one has the better kind of graphics processor, as it were. Some people care about that. And then the major factor is which one your friends have. If that stops being a problem, does that strengthen the market because it stops mattering? Or does it weaken it and dilute it a bit more? Or does this now open new opportunities? I'm kind of wondering a slightly bigger picture than just things like Fortnite now having it, and the games that you're suggesting may be able to get, like Call of Duty. Every shooter game.
I think that at this point, it now comes down to that the console companies have to then really focus on their first-party exclusives and really say, listen, like, obviously these are all, let's just throw out this, say, like in the next generation of console, most games are cross-play. Let's just say that for the time being. What it comes down to is like The Last of Us, God of War. It comes down to those games, which you say, listen, you can play those games online with your friends. That's fair enough. But you really want to buy it for these. I think that's what it's going to come down to. And with Microsoft actually purchasing a lot of companies in the last few months to try and boost their first-party catalog, probably not for this generation, but it's going to be for the next one. I think they've taken the right path, if that makes sense.
Sure.
With actually starting to get the ball rolling, and obviously Sony are going to be doing the same because they're going to be making sure that their first parties are strong. But I think that's what it comes down to more than anything else. I don't think it really matters when it comes to a multiplayer game what console you actually own.
I think you're right, actually, on that regard, because most people, if you were going to pick, quite a lot of people who are gamers who were going to pick the gamers. I hate that expression, but if you were going to use that term, and also the kind of people who want to buy the kind of thing that's cross-platform and stuff, they're usually the more hardcore end of the gaming kind of spectrum, as it were. So they're more likely to have it on PC or something anyway.
I think the true was...
For me, I have a PC. So multiplayer games that are cross-platform, there's only one choice.
Yeah.
When it comes to exclusives, I have the choice. And so, yeah, to me, that's what the console market is. But it's making it about that to everyone, I guess.
I think like what comes down to it now, then, if this is the case that they could do more games, multiplayer and crossplay, the true war, which is the console wars, would actually become controller or keyboard and mouse again. It's like,
oh god,
it's like just just stoke that ember up a little bit.
Well, that's the problem. Is everyone always whines because I think there was one of the emulators you could get for Android meant people were playing PUBG and Fortnite, Android and iOS versions, but with the mouse and keyboard, and it just instantly makes you way better.
Yeah. That's true. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like I was saying before, like with this, obviously Fortnite being the first step, do you think this will be a natural progression very quickly to other games, or do you think it's going to still be a long process before we get there? And what do you think are the next games are going to get on board, and which games PlayStation is going to allow?
I do think it will happen quite quickly now.
Yeah, I think this is
PlayStation have allowed
effect.
it. Yeah,
you see, the thing is,
and I think it is going to be the big hitters.
So which games do you think are going to be the first ones that are after Fortnite?
Black Ops 4.
With the Blackout...
yes, with things like that, because that's just about to drop. Why wouldn't you make that...
The player only as well, isn't it?
Why wouldn't you make that cross-platform, just so everyone...
It makes sense.
Because ultimately, it gets more sales to your game.
It makes sense.
It's a good idea.
If Sony do try and, again, slow it down with Activision, say, listen, well, we're not quite ready there yet, and if Microsoft turn around and say, well, we are, it's like, we're ready, then in that case, it makes their online more populated, naturally.
The problem is Microsoft have no leg to stand on at the moment because their exclusives are nothing short of shameful. Like, they're just kind of a waste at this point, and they cancelled half of their good ones, I seem to recall. I watched a lot of E3, and I can't tell you a single game that came out of the Microsoft.
No, I got told me, yeah.
There's nothing. There was one game I was looking forward to on Xbox, and that was called Scalebound, and I believe it was by Platinum Games, and it looked very
Platinum Games, yeah.
Devil May Cry, and also Lair, which was one of the opening launch titles of the PS3, and it looked quite interesting and had like a douchey Dante main protagonist, and I was totally down for this game, and something happened to it, and it got cut. And that was honestly, this sounds like I'm projecting because I was looking forward to it, but apparently people were so excited for that game that they lost so much faith in Xbox because they were like, what are you doing cancelling original IPs to push your kind of dying Halo franchise even harder? Like, why are you doing this? Because I stopped enjoying Halo. Halo 4 was kind of nice, but the story was a bit weak. I didn't try 5. And is there a 6 yet?
6 got announced at E3.
Oh, there we go.
Well,
that was the only.
Nice one, Richard. I'm glad you're here. Me and like
Halo 6 and Gears of War 5, which you knew would come in at some point anyway, so they weren't big surprises.
More of these games,
I think,
like
in the end, like as it comes back around, it's only going to be a good thing doing cross play because obviously, like for example, when I was arranging this show and I was putting it together, we still haven't yet, but I was arranging like a night of gaming for us all, just like break the ice a little bit, stuff like that. But because we all own different consoles or don't have the same games on that console, it causes a problem. But now
it's no
could
longer a problem.
potentially open up those games. Well, I've got, let's say, Rainbow Six Siege. I've got it on PS4. You guys might have it on PC or Xbox. It doesn't matter what you own it on, as long as you got the game.
Exactly, that's the case.
So overall, I think it's a good. I think Sony had to make this move. It's just, yeah. I think, to be honest, I think there was a bit of a backlash with them saying no, we won't be doing that sort of thing. But I think they needed to quickly get this out of the way and just sweep it under the rug and go like, yes, we're doing it now. Go away. Like, let's move on to other things. PlayStation 5, woo! They'll pull a curtain down at the next event and they'll be like, look, forget about everything else.
Do you know what really? I totally forgot about this. But do you guys remember the Xbox One's disastrous launch? Or even its pre-launch.
When it basically just kept
no
reverting
part of
everything.
the Xbox One's life cycle has been good. They started it before it even came out as going, it's a media center. And everyone's going, we wanted a gaming console. And so everyone was instantly a bit shaky. And they've really forced the Kinect down your throat. And it was just, there was so much stuff that was really weak.
They retracted a lot.
Then...
They were like double backing on themselves straight away.
Yeah, do you remember that whole pre-owned games debacle?
Until they took the
Where
piss
they
out
were
of
like,
them.
if you use a disc, you can never use that disc in another console. And they went, well, why? And they went, well, you know,
you have
piracy.
to register it online, and that
and so everyone went. So it's no wonder that everyone lost faith in Microsoft this generations because they completely.
But to be absolutely
screwed.
honest, I think there was some of the ideas they had were actually very good.
I agree.
We weren't ready for that.
It was too early. Them trying to say, by the way, we are stopping doing discs. I went, well, yeah, that seems like a rash decision, but that has to happen eventually.
They were just trying to get ahead, and it was just we as consumers weren't ready for that.
It needed to be. We needed to be eased into that, and at the moment, that easing is happening. People are buying more. I don't know. Actually, I don't have the stats to back this up. This is conjecture, but I imagine people are starting to buy more and more digital copies.
Personally, as a gamer, for me, I buy more digital games now than ever before. Mainly for pure of ease. The only reason why these days I'll order a physical copy of a game is mainly for price reasons.
Price is still an issue.
Yeah, but
they announced.
Go on, sorry, go on.
Sorry, they announced some figures for FIFA 19 this week, which has instantly become the biggest selling game of the year. But compared to last year, physical sales are down 25%, which they are attributing mainly to digital.
See, a lot of people like the idea of buying physical copies as like a collector's item, but to me, I'm actually kind of the other way around. If it's a game I'm going to buy and cherish, I want it on my device so I can play it whenever I want. If it's a game I have no faith in its longevity, I want to be able to take this back in 2-3 years, you know? So ARMS, I bought that physical copy because I'm not going to play ARMS forever, you know? I'm bored of ARMS now.
I think it comes down to what sort of consumer you are as well. Because like a couple of my friends love trading in the games and getting money back off them and stuff like that. Whereas me, I try and research into games a lot more. Whereas they'll just buy games from a bit of a whim. And they've kind of done that with digital versions where it's been still quite pricey, and then instantly regretted it and like, oh, this is not very good. I don't like this. It's like, well, if you
that's the problem with cheap games on Steam. You buy them by the bucket load and you don't touch them. I've got 700 games or something in my library. I think I've played 30 of them. Like, it's starting to get a bit mad.
But I got to admit, like, bringing it back, we actually got a little bit off track, but I mean, to be honest, bringing it round back to the crossplay, this is the future of gaming, and it's only a good thing.